Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Welcome once more to another video podcast of Alexandra Mayers Live. It's me once more, Alexandra. I was debating whether or not to post another video blog this evening, but something's telling me that I really need to, because I think it's very important for a woman who is professionally known as Bella Elise Rose to be aware that there is another woman out there in the United States who has not walked her same path, but who does understand a bit of what she's experienced, who understands a bit of her situation, and who can relate to her situation from a certain standpoint. So I'm just going to construct this podcast like I'm actually talking to Bella from here on out. Hi, Bella. I'm Alexandra. You never have to talk to me directly in your life. I'm not looking to be your friend. I'm not looking for anything from you. I'm not looking for any acknowledgement from you. Nothing. I just want you to know that you are not alone when it comes to this situation with Lucas Frost and some of your peers, okay? I noticed, Bella, in your most recent video podcast that you put together to defend your friend, Derek Hay, that you repeatedly mentioned this guy, Lucas Frost. And honestly, I'd never heard of him. But I'm somebody who's very detail-oriented when it comes to my independent investigative blogging, okay? So I decided to look back on your timeline and just try to find out what I could when it came to the situation between he and you. And I got to tell you something, Bella. He's a lot more of a racist than you are in actuality, and I'm going to explain to you why and how. This guy, Lucas Frost, basically utilized people with my skin color as an excuse, not only to normalize it, to bully you and abuse you within the adult entertainment industry, but to justify why he was picking on you and targeting you. Him using racism as an excuse to justify his abuse and his bullying parallels what a retired porn star known as Donny Long, real name Donald Carlos Sion, did to not just me, but quite a few people when it came to justifying his actions of doxing and bullying and threatening and stalking, harassing, whatever you want to call it. Donny Long, just in case you don't know, is the guy who is behind that hate crime, Porn WikiLeaks. And Donny Long also, he's another one who's far more racist than I think you could ever be, Bella. But getting back to what I was saying, this guy Lucas Frost is no different than Donny Long. Donny Long utilized the excuse of wanting to rid the industry, meaning the adult industry, of HIV and the LGBT community and crossovers. He used that excuse to target specific people, whether they were a part of what he was using as an excuse or not, okay? And from what I'm seeing here, Lucas Frost, he didn't just assault you on set physically. He did something worse. He assaulted you psychologically. He messed with your mind. And how do I know this? I know this because you kept talking about him. You kept talking about the situation. And I think you kept talking about it because none of your peers who should have had your back and who should have been on your side, especially your female peers, have stood up against him. And that's not good. Not at all. To you, Lucas Frost, because I know you're going to watch this, you don't get to use me as an excuse to abuse women, be it psychologically or physically. From what I can tell, now I don't know your heritage or your ethnicity, Lucas Frost, but you appear to be a white male. So how is it that you think that anything you do really could be in defense of me? Anything you do on a porn set could be in defense of me, especially when it comes to harming women. I don't quite get that, Lucas Frost. And the reason I don't get it is because it's completely illogical. I think that you are a very psychologically damaged man. I think you are quite possibly mentally ill. And I think that you need to keep the issue of racism completely out of your mouth because you don't know what you're talking about. If anything, you are the kind of person who makes the world a lot more difficult for someone who looks like me. Why? Well, because there are actual racists out there who don't understand quite what you're up to, who will look at you and assume that you're friends with somebody like me. Now, I actually don't believe, Lucas, that you have any real black friends who are of substance and who currently live their life right. Earlier this evening, I actually ran this situation by a relative of mine because I needed a second opinion of it. And the first thing that he asked me was, who is this guy? And who the fuck does he think he is? You probably need to make sure, Lucas Frost, that you not socialize anytime soon with any black men of substance who live their life right. Because I'm going to make sure as many people as possible know what you have done to this woman, Bella Elise Rose. I saw you bragging about not having faced any kind of legal consequence. Well, the game's not over yet, Lucas. And Bella, I would encourage you to speak out about this situation a bit more, maybe write some blogs about it a bit more. Don't go silent when something like this happens. And just to reiterate what this person, Lucas Frost, said about Bella after he assaulted her on set and normalized it within the industry that she works within, that it's okay to bully her because she's supposedly such a racist. He tweeted, "I'll admit I was petty today, but if I know you're a racist, I will intentionally nut in your eye." And again, this is not a black male saying this. This is a white privilege enabled white sex worker in the adult entertainment industry attempting to justify his abusing a woman with the excuse of fighting racism. Yeah. What else did I want to say about this? Anything else, really? No. I just I just can't believe that this guy has the audacity to actually expect people to cheer for him because he's assaulted a woman supposedly on behalf of people of color, people who look like me, Black people, African American people. As I tweeted earlier, I think even if Bella Elise Rose and this Frost guy were removed from the equation, I still think that Derek Hay and his friends with the luxury companion would have been taken to task legally when it comes to the pimping and the pandering, because they've been doing stuff that they shouldn't have been doing for a long time. But it does appear that there's quite a few white privilege enabled individuals who have the objective of getting the luxury companion people and the LA Direct people out of the way so that there's more room for them to potentially exploit individuals within the industry, whether they want to pick up where the luxury companion is set to leave off and become the new big pimps in town, or if they want to absorb LA Direct's talent roster. But I guess I just want to end this podcast by saying, if you're going to call out one group of bad guys, you need to call out all the bad guys. And that's part of why I blog. Because I'm sick of bad guys. I'm sick of bad women too. Because there's just as many bad women as there are bad men. I mean, when I look at how many women in the industry could have stood up or at least stood alongside this girl Bella and chose not to because they were afraid of being treated like her, most likely, it's sickening. I mean, it's just so ironic to me that a lot of individuals in the adult entertainment industry like to paint this picture of themselves being renegades or rebels or whatever. But in actuality, they're not tough. They're not renegades. They're definitely not independent thinkers. Not for the most part. They're a bunch of scared little cowards with a gang mentality who are so afraid to be cast out of the group. And why would you be afraid of being cast out of the group if you're already doing actions to where most likely you're going to be cast out of your own family for a while, at least until you decide to change your life and live your life in a different way? That's what I did. When I was working in the adult entertainment industry, my family didn't talk to me that much. They still loved me, but what I was doing did not exactly align with who they are as people. And still, as an independent investigative blogger, when it comes to trying to share the truth about the adult entertainment industry, there's people in my family who don't talk to me. There's some who do, some who don't. Some don't and won't because of me having an adult entertainment industry past. Some won't just because I have a certain kind of personality. But some won't because the subjects that I cover are very touchy, even though I have not worked as a performer in any capacity in the adult industry in close to a decade now. But like I said, if you're willing to be cast out of your own family, why aren't you willing to be cast out of the what's this Lucas Frost asshole? What's his tagline? Friends with the cool kids. Why aren't you afraid of being cast out of the cool kids group? Are you that weak? Porn stars? Seems to me like you are. And being that you are so weak, that is why there's government intervention coming in to where all your names are going to go into a database, because it's time for all of you to take some real accountability for how you're not just treating each other as human beings, but how you're treating yourself. Because when you're in a group and you see a member of your group basically getting stoned to death, and you don't say anything about it, that points to something being tremendously wrong with you. It really does. What's happened actually to Bella Rose when it comes to her being singled out and bullied by a group happened a long time ago. And it was recorded in one of the first history books, a history book that everybody today, whether you believe in it or not, knows about. And the history book I'm talking about is a book called the Bible. In the Bible, there's a story about a woman known as Mary Magdalene, and she was a prostitute. Okay? And for some reason, Mary Magdalene was getting stoned one day. People were picking on her in the community that she lived in, that she probably worked within. And she probably had friends in that group that she belonged to, but they weren't willing to stand up for her. But you know, there was someone who was willing to stand up for her. And that person today is known as Jesus Christ. Now, today, do we know many of the names from that peer group that Mary Magdalene was in? No, we don't. But we sure as hell know the name of the man who stood up for her. Whether you believe in him or not. So, that's something that I want a lot of you out there to think about. I don't care whether Bella is racist or not. She can be a goddamn Nazi for all I care. But what I do care about is that for these past 2 years, because it seemed like this happened around 2018, she should not have felt as alone as she obviously feels. So I'm going to leave it at that. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So have a good night, everybody. Sorry, I got a little bit emotional here. And good luck to you, Bella Elise Rose. Good luck to you. I am going to say that I do hope, Bella, that sometime soon you decide not to be a sex worker anymore. It's your life. You do whatever you want to do, okay? But you seem like a very nice person overall. I would like to see you enroll in some college classes. I think you need to educate yourself a little bit more. I think you have the ability to learn and improve yourself substantially. I would like to see you become a far better communicator. That way, when these things happen, you can better relate to the public what has happened. I personally feel that this guy, Lucas Frost, targeted you specifically because you do have a few issues communicating. But you can improve that. I don't know who your friends are, but I think it would be a good idea for you to at least attempt to make some friends outside of the adult entertainment industry. Maybe take a couple of years off. I just don't want to see anything happen to you. I really don't. Because I really do think that you're a nice girl. Something about you really touched my heart. So again, good luck. Take what I say with a grain of salt. I don't know you. You don't know me. But I can relate to a bit of what you've gone through.